All right, today we're going to talk about the concept of a leadership shadow. And I'm curious, have you heard of a leadership shadow? Do you know what it means? Oh, I was going to draw it on my whiteboard. Never mind, I'm going to draw it with my hands. So, leadership shadow, the idea of this is that it is what is, okay, I heard this great saying once by someone else. It explains it really well. A leadership shadow, it's what's left of you when you leave the room. The idea of it being your shadow is what is around you. It is the vibe you give off, the perspective you give off, and sometimes you're not aware of it. So your shadow could be behind you, it could be something that you don't see. Um, but it's always based on the things that you do and your behavior. So the concept of a leadership shadow and why it's important is that this is what your team pick up on for you. And this is what your team model in terms of your behavior for how they're going to be. So, your leadership shadow, when you do it intentionally, you are modeling the behaviors and the thought processes and things that you want your team to pick up on and how you want them to behave. If you're not intentional about your leadership shadow, there are things that could be happening that are setting the tone and the expectations for your team without you realizing. So I'm going to explain how it works and give you some examples. So the idea of a leadership shadow is four quadrants. So it's the things that you say, and that also includes like the tone of your language and how you say things. Then there's the things you do, the behaviors and things that you model. And then there's the things that you measure. So things that you have KPIs on, things that you check in your quality control. And then there's things you prioritize. So where do you put your time and energy? So if we're looking at those four quadrants, um, a good leadership shadow is conscious of those things and those things all align. So for example, let's say a big nameless mining company has a priority of safety. So they say, yep, safety is our number one thing. It's our priority. Everyone goes home safe at the end of the day. Great thing. But if they're measuring things like, turnaround time for maintenance or availability times, I'm not going to use the terminology unless, you're from the mining industry, you won't get it. But they're basically measuring things that are monitoring speed of performance and how quickly we can get, things fixed and things done. So they say safety, but they're measuring performance. And so what actually happens is the behavior of the team is all geared towards getting things done. And there could be a risk, not saying there is, but there could be a risk that shortcuts get taken and that might impact safety, or band-aid fixes get done rather than deep dive root causes. And that way there could be a safety risk. So even though they are saying, as in the we then, saying priority of safety, the behavior and the measurements and things like that are different. So that's an example of leadership today. Another example, maybe closer to home. A leader could say, yep, I've got an open door policy. Anytime, come on in, have a chat, I'm here for you. That sounds wonderful and it's really great and it's a beautiful thing. But if their behavior doesn't model that, here's what that might look like. So someone comes in to talk, sits down, the leader is still on their computer. Yep, what's up? How can I help? What do you need? Oh, phone. Okay, really sorry, I've got to take this. That behavior there is not modeling safety open door policy. What would look better and be congruent with behavior of an open door policy would be, hey, how can I help? Take a seat, laptop down, phone away. What do you need? Right? Straight there with them. That's another example. What else did I write on my lovely list here? Um, yeah, the standard you walk past is the standard you accept. So if you want your team to take take ownership of their environment, keep their desk clean, keep the office tidy, but your desk is a mess, then of course they're going to model that. If you walk past an untidy conference table and don't clean it up, or you walk past the coffee cups left in the sink and don't wash them, your staff are going to do the same thing as well. And you can't be like, you need to clean this, this is your responsibility. You're the leader. You've got to set the tone, set expectations, and lead by example in that situation. So those are some examples. And so what I want you to do when you think about this is have a think about, what is my leadership shadow? What do I say? What do I do? What do I prioritize? What do I measure? And think about, is that what you want and what you might be giving off? Now, this can be tricky to do. You've got self-reflection. We have the ability to look at ourselves and think about what we do, and introspection, I think, is the word that is used. But it doesn't give the full picture. And I'll give you an example to explain this. You really need to ask your team and get the information from your team to understand how you're showing up, because a lot of this could be unintentional. So one of the colleagues that I worked with in an old leadership team, he shares a story about how he did this reflection with his team, and he was in a job where safety is a big priority, and to him, safety is a big priority, and it was really important. But his team said to him, I'm just going to call him John. John didn't value safety, right? Made the team feel unsafe. He walked past safety issues without saying anything. And he's like, what? Like, no way. Safety is really important to me. Like, what do you mean? Give me an example. Luckily, his team were like really open and happy to have this conversation. Most of the time, it's done anonymously. But his team said, the other week, so and so was doing some kind of high risk job and it was unsafe and he had this wrong. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was definitely unsafe. Everyone saw it. John walked right past it and didn't say anything. Now, what John did privately pretty soon straight away was pulled that person aside, had a one-on-one conversation, addressed the safety concerns, made sure he knew the person knew the expectations, and got an agreement going forward of how to do it properly and how to be safe. And that was all done privately because another value that this leader had was of that respect and not having that confrontation, not making someone feel bad or look bad in front of other people, having that respect and private conversation. What he wasn't aware of, the unintentional leadership shadow, was that by not addressing a safety issue in front of everyone, or at least I'll give you another example, at least saying it like later on at the next day's preset, hey, we noticed this yesterday, this was addressed, we had a private conversation, like going forward for everyone, this is the extent we expect. So, but by not doing that publicly, his team got the impression that he didn't care about safety. So it's one thing to be able to reflect it, oh, these are my values and this is what I prioritize. But how is what you are doing for one value counteracting like the visibility of another value? Hard to reflect on for yourself, which is why we do a diagnostic. So in Leader Growth Lab, what we've got this leadership diagnostic where we ask your team anonymously to reflect on how they perceive your leadership, so you can actually see how it's landing with your team and look for those potential blind spots where you think you're doing the right thing and you are for one of your values, but something else unintentional is happening, and you just sometimes can't see that when you look in the mirror. So that is leadership shadow. I'm really curious to hear if that's something new to you, if that's landed. And from this, go away and have a think about, what do I say, do, prioritize, and measure, and see if you can be intentional with your leadership shadow.